Welcome to Raíces and Wings.
Nosotros los inmigrantes.
Hello, Romy. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm very glad this afternoon, and we are having a special guest today.
Yes.
And her name is Kayla Doyle, and she is the social worker at Mays Middle School.
That's
Hello,
right.
Kayla.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
And
we
we
are
are
happy,
Very happy to
here.
having you, but also we are friends. We travel
Yes.
together, and it's an honor having you here.
Thank
with
you.
some advice, because this coming February, we are going to have conferences
Yes.
at Mays District and the Wichita District also. So as a parent, as a teacher, we need to be prepared, and let's see some advice that you have for us, starting with, is important to have these teacher conferences, or now with technology, we can check the grades and that's enough?
I think it's important to still have a parent-teacher conference. The technology with the grades can tell you just that, where their grades are, but a teacher would be able to tell you where their strengths are, their weaknesses, behaviors, their emotional needs within the school, and also their peer relationships, which is just as important for students.
As a parent, I know my kid. Do I know my kid enough to know that strengths and weaknesses?
I think you would have an idea of what strengths and weaknesses you see at home, but the teachers see your students and your children 8 hours a day. So some days they see them more than maybe what we see our own kids. And it's always nice to get a different viewpoint, because their focus is solely on the academic portion and in the school portion. So you always want to get the opinion of the teacher as well.
Yeah, because sometimes the kids behave one way in the school, and then at home they are quite different.
Absolutely.
Right. And when you're mentioning about strengths and weaknesses, what do you recommend, and what's your thoughts about, increasing or supporting the weaknesses versus the strengths?
I think it's always important to first focus on the strengths. Build that confidence within your child. Let them know that you're proud of them, and then step back and start looking at the weaknesses and how we can put different things in place to help your child, whether that be extra help at home, tutoring with the teacher, maybe different resources the school has in place for students. You always want to work on those weaknesses, but you have to build your child's confidence first.
I think that's very important what you're saying, because most of the time we see the grades and we see a bad grade in, let's say, math, and then we jump into provide the tutoring or the support to pass that grade to make it better. But then we forget about the strengths, and that self-confidence is very, very important, right?
It is. It's always important for your child to feel that you're proud of them, and then that way when they are struggling with something, they are more willing to come to you for help versus trying to hide it from you.
Yes, so a nice balance between
Yes.
them, it's the best. How can we be prepared as a parent, be ready for conferences?
I think the most important thing with being prepared for parent-teacher conferences is to go in with an open mind. Your teacher is coming from a different outlook than you are as a parent. They are a wealth of knowledge on your child. They're a wealth of knowledge on what the school can provide, and to have that open mind of what your child needs.
That is wonderful. And how can we talk about conferences with our kids?
I think it's important to take your child to parent-teacher conferences if they are older especially, and let them be accountable for their grades and their behavior within the school, and to have a conversation of, I'm here for you with what you need. Let's have an open discussion.
That is wonderful.
Well, Kayla, I have seen that some parents, they don't speak the language, they don't speak English, they have another language at home. So they may come with their children so the children can interpret to them. Is this a good thing to do? What do
I-
you think?
I think it's important to know that if you contact the school prior to parent-teacher conferences, they will provide you a translator. Sometimes students don't understand everything exactly to translate appropriately, and depending on maybe behaviors or grades, they may intentionally not translate appropriately.
I'm doing excellent.
Right. So the school will always provide you a translator for you.
Is this something free, or do the parents need to pay for?
No, the parents do not need to pay for. They just need to let the school know that they are needing a translator for
So
their.
they need to let the school know ahead of time,
Yes.
right? Okay.
That is wonderful. What happened when we have a child that doesn't have good grades and doesn't have good behavior? How can approach with the kid and the teacher and the three together? Because when I'm at home, my approaching with my kids are different versus I'm with the teacher.
Right.
And how we can handle that.
I think it's always important to view your teacher and the school as a team to work with you. I think it's important that your child know that you communicate with the school on all aspects, and then to come together and brainstorm different ideas. Consistency is key. So knowing your student knowing that my teacher talks to my parents, and maybe I'll be rewarded at home if I do something really well, or maybe I'll have some consequences at home. And just that follow through that when I leave school, everything's left at school, and them knowing that that's not true is really important.
I think that is a very nice advice because it's like a marriage. When mom and dad doesn't have the same communication, ooh.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the same thing happened with teachers. What happened when the parent, before anything, support the kid and go just against the teacher?
I think it's always important to hear your teacher out. That goes back to being very open-minded. Your student or your child may not always give you accurate information, and I was always taught there are three sides to every story, yours, theirs, and the truth. Yes, yours, theirs, and the truth. And so I think it's important to get all the information collected, and that may be past the teacher as well. That may be administration, the school social worker, the speech pathologist. There's so many resources for you to connect with at the school to learn about what's going on with your child.
And
So you-
always in a positive way.
Yes. Yes, you always want to maintain that relationship because ultimately they do spend 8 hours with your baby, and you want them to have that positive connection with you to pass on to your child.
So is the parent-teacher conference a good opportunity to talk about behavior and if they are being bullied or they are bullying or anything like that? It's also a good
Yes, you
opportunity?
always, that would be a good opportunity. Always feel free to contact the school though, even prior to parent-teacher conferences, if there are major concerns regarding behaviors or bullying, because that social, emotional aspect for your child is just as important as academics. So even if parent-teacher conferences, we focus on the academics and then the time runs out, there are other resources in the school you can have conversations with, whether that be administration, the counselors, the social worker, maybe even the school nurse.
It
We're
seems-
all there during parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah, it seems that it's important to have these opportunities more than the parent-teacher conferences because nowadays we only have 2 parent-teacher conferences in a year, right? Is
Yes,
that correct?
that is. But don't hesitate to email teachers or to make a phone call or even to drop by, like maybe when you're dropping your student off or picking them up. They're there for you and your child, and they want your child to succeed. So that open communication is key.
That's right. What happened when, I hear this very often, the parents of the good students are most of the time in conferences, and the parents that I need to talk with them are not there.
I want to encourage all parents to go to parent-teacher conferences. It's important to hear where your child's struggling so you can be a support at home. But just because your child's doing well doesn't mean that you shouldn't go as either, because You want to hear the praises of your kid. Teachers want to praise as well as letting you know the weaknesses, and every student can make improvements.
Yes, that is
Right.
true.
And then how this works, when you have a child that has special needs and is receiving special education resources in a school, is it a good opportunity during the parent-teacher conference to talk about the IEP, or is there another opportunity to do it? Is it beneficial to have them combined?
Okay.
What do you
I think it's important to keep a child's IEP and their parent-teacher conferences separate. During the parent-teacher conference, you want to talk about progress that's currently going on in the classroom. However, an IEP is more entailed to where it's a team. They'll pull in everybody from the team in order to discuss the needs that need to go into the IEP. However, as a parent, you can request an IEP at any time throughout the school year and as often as you would like. So you don't have to wait until the IEP meeting in order to request to visit the IEP.
And for the people who doesn't know what are the meaning of IEP, can you tell us?
Yeah, an IEP stands for an individual education plan, and what that is a plan for students to be successful in educations. Not all students learn the same, not all of their needs are the same, and so this is a plan that's tailored to your child's needs to be successful.
So
So
this
no,
is a
I'm
plan. I'm sorry. So this is a plan that every teacher has, and they have to be following for each individual student.
If your child has an IEP, your teacher will have access to what they need to provide.
Okay.
And yes, they are supposed to follow it and provide those for your student.
And that was my
Oh.
my comment. The IEP is not for all the students,
Correct.
just for some of them.
Correct. Some students need that little extra push to be successful, or maybe not a push, but different services to be successful.
That is perfect. The conferences with the teacher passed, how can I approach my kid? Do I need to be hard with him? How can I handle it if we have issues? And how can reward them if we are very successful?
I think it's always important to be honest with your kids. Kids know when you're not being honest and you are hiding something, and to be open with them. If their grades are not where you would like them to be, and it's because of motivation and effort versus struggling, then it's important to put a consequence into where they learn that grades are important, and how they put effort into school is how they'll put effort into a job later in life. If your kids are doing well in school, absolutely reward them, or maybe put that motivation in so they even do better with a positive reinforcement or a reward of such as quality time.
Right. We are not just teaching knowledge, content, also habits.
Yes.
Yes.
So do you have some examples about those rewards? And
Yeah, in our household, we like to use the quality time. I have 5 kids, and so if you do exceptionally well in school, then my husband and I like to take time with each kid by themselves, because they're always fighting for attention. And so when they have that opportunity to just have mom and dad to themselves, they crave that. And as a mom, I crave that. And so it's really important to do that quality time with them. Maybe paint their nails, or watch a movie, or go on a bike ride. And then some students are motivated by money. Some students are motivated by a prize. Every kiddo's different.
That is wonderful. And, well, I think we have enough advice. Just remember, our students, come with your parents. As a teachers, we want to know more about you, and just meeting your parents and your siblings, it's so amazing, because I know more about how is your dynamic at home.
Yes.
So that can help us as a
Yes.
teacher. So Thank you, Kayla. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much, Kayla.
Thank
And you
you.
parents, be prepared. The month of February, we have parent-teacher conferences. We hope to see you all there in all the schools, all the different schools. It doesn't matter if they are elementary or they are high school.
It
But they
doesn't
still need
matter.
you.
Yes.
They do.
They still need us. And I want to say thank you. I want to invite you again because your story is amazing with your 5 kids, and if someday we can talk about it, it
Yeah,
will
it
be
would be
super,
awesome. Yeah.
super nice. And I want to give a beautiful thank you, a big thank you for David Santander and Triana Esquivel, because they are always behind this camera and they are working very hard with these videos. Thank you so much, and
Thank you.
we will see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
We are going to have more cultural things for you, so please subscribe to our channel.
Like us and click on the bell, and please send us your comments or something that you would like to see in this your channel.
Bye.
Bye.